Hello, what up, everybody? It is Friday, December 6th, 2024. I brought the man here. He is all dressed up. It is our 100th episode. So really excited for this episode today. Actually, it's we're all dressed up, in case you couldn't tell. We got the gold out. Rocco's really looking prim and proper here. Rocco, you're on. Sharpen up. There you go. He's a little afraid of the camera, but here we go. I couldn't have scripted better myself. Bitcoin over 100K, new all-time highs in SPY and Q. Saquon Barkley is an eagle. Really everything. I couldn't have scripted better myself. So let's get into it. Like I said, been doing this program here for about, 8 months now or so, and I'm glad to be, sharing knowledge with you guys, like answering tickers, whatever you guys put in the chat there. So without further ado, let's take a look at it. If you have anything, put it in there. This might be a little bit longer than the usual episode today, potentially. I'm sure Rocco has some antics. He doesn't have more than a walnut brain. So anyways, without further ado, today, consumer discretionary. Tesla has really been a monster this week, moving a lot of parts of the market. The biggest stuff today. And we'll look at the, in terms of the week. I like doing the Friday recaps because it puts everything holistically. But consumer discretionary today ran amok. Amazon and Tesla were both very powerful, and ARK stocks jump as Tesla is a major holding. I think the largest or one of the top holdings in ARK funds for Cathie Wood. That absolutely ran all week. And then metals and mining had a bad day today, down 2.5%. New all-time highs for. Let me get my breath ready for this. SPY, Q's, IGV, which is the Internet Index, XLC, that can't stop, won't stop. And actually, a little interesting note on that, it's actually one of the leading parts of the market. And we'll look at that when we do the yearly recap. XLK, we were waiting for when tech was going to break out. Thanks for a nice comment, Caleb. Appreciate that. XLK, yeah, we were wondering what was going to happen. And please, if you have any comments about Rocco's outfit, you can comment on that too, because he was not happy that he's wearing it. Yeah, so everyone was wondering, is tech going to be underneath that July highs? And, broke it this week. We'll take a closer look at that. XLY, this thing's been a monster. The consumer is very powerful and actually the best performing sector since the August 5th Japan, freak out since that crash. So, with a sample size of 4 months, that is the top going sector. And then this week characterized by a big 8% rip in ARK. That was obviously very correlated with Tesla's monster move all week. And then on the downside, what led to the downside was declines in nat gas. Called it last week, said it's just like death, taxes, and nat gas reverting to the toilet. And that was one of the biggest drops this week, down 7%. And the XOP was also down 7%, the XOP complex. So that's the oil and gas production side. So let us share the doc here before we get into a whole bunch of charts. This guy even looks like Michael Saylor. Look at that, just counting up his Bitcoin. But yeah, that guy has some cojones, just selling stock to buy Bitcoin. But anyway, here it is, here in front of the New York Stock Exchange. A lot of people, I think there is a tree lit up there as of yesterday. But yeah, pretty much is what's going on. Just a lot of wealth being made. Stay long. Just stay long. And here it is, as I said in writing, in case you couldn't hear me speak of it. But consumer discretionary and ARK stocks jumped today being the word there. Well, metal and mining stocks, XME. We'll take a look at the chart, down 2.5%, new all-time highs for all these guys. And the next one after that was XLG, my baby, the top 50, new all-time high for that. And then the week recap. All right. So without further ado, let us get to the intraday chart first on SPY. I told you, let's pull up the chart first, and I'll let you know here. Boopity, boopity, which of course is a financial term. Okay. Is that screen up? Yes. Okay. So what I want to point out here, so yeah, stocks here, in case you can see this, Tesla again, a 5% today, monster. And then the other major component in XLY is Amazon. Amazon up 3% nearly. So that is continuing to crush. And that I believe is new all-time highs for Amazon. There's a lot of breadth in the all-time high list. It is lots of different firms. It's not, this isn't just the Mag 7 story anymore. Although that is obviously making all-time highs as well. And it seems to be a driver now. We had some big moves. We'll take a look, a little bit about some froth. Palantir, I saw it's trading at 420 times or 430 times EBITDA. So it's kind of crazy. United Health, after the shooting yesterday, had a reversal of fortune today, down 5%. Coinbase, a monster move, up 7%. And of course, we already talked about Bitcoin right now, 101. But let's get into the chart, the intraday chart for the S&P. So the high was actually struck at 10 a.m. We hit 609, and this market's just been so powerful. This is, 3.5 weeks ahead of my New Year's Eve target was about 610. I know a lot of bankers now. I mean, I was saying it back in May. Now the bankers are trying to, the bank sell side is trying to pull it and say, 6,300 or 630 for year end for SPY. So give me a break. I don't want to really push that much forward. This is obviously foot on the gas, and we'll take a look. But first, like I said, so we peaked this morning at 609, and then VWAP at the end of the day was 607.89, and we closed just a touch underneath that. Volume was also very low. I can check. I think SPY ended up with 28 million shares. So that, again, hate to say it every time, but that's pretty much July 4 holiday, Thanksgiving Friday type half day type session volume. So just digestion, and volatility was in by about 2% today. So total digestion day, pretty healthy. As I zoom out here, so this has been an enormous run, which really got a second gear, I would say. Let me move that box out. So this has been a monster run, which has gotten, started here around this November 5th, obviously from the election, November 5th. And then it really had another leg up, I would say, right around here, this 587 level. Again, you don't get many chances to, buy a superstar here. And this had 4 chances at the 21-day exponential moving average and up and away, especially after it took out that 600 clean. So now what I kind of cautious, I think this wants to, as if you're trying to set your own PR, on the treadmill, you're trying to get to that time or till your song completes, however lazy you are, and then you punch out. I think this market kind of wants to get to 610, and then I think it's going to take a little bit of a breather. So again, I've been saying this for several videos. My target is right around, I'm looking at it right here, the top Bollinger Band to be exact, with my 20-day time frame is 610. And I've been saying 605 to 610. And then I'm just looking at another screen, another time frame is also 609.75. So I'm looking at 610 for another punch through. I think that'll happen in the next week or so. And then really a very small, kind of like what you saw with, in a way of, Bitcoin. Everyone was so concerned when it got from, 103 and went back to 94. And, here it is again, store of value, lost 10% of its value in a day. In a way, I think a SPY can sell off to about 597, 98, and that's going to be buyable. And that's going to be your entry for the rest of the year. So, I'm glad to be long. I don't want to time this market, in that regard. But I think the pullback that you get, again, 598 is that's stellar. That, again, is for the first time we just accessed that price 3 days after the election. So we were 3 days into the rip. And if things get ugly, in my opinion, we get down to 585, which, again, we've only gotten through after the election. So a lot of bullishness here. So that's what I'm pretty much seeing. I see 610 at some point next week in SPY. Pullbacks take you to about, it's going to be buyable, but 590, probably 595 to 600, probably 598 right in the middle there. And then you're going to want to buy that if things get ugly and it's just, things get ridiculous. And maybe the Hawk Tuah girl puts out another coin that somehow people put tens of thousands of dollars into. Maybe we get to 585, and that's your risk and reward in the market. Next, I give it to you all. You get crypto, you get the Hawk Tuah girl. I know a dog dressed up in a suit. I don't know what you want. All right, so let's look at the things that moved up high today in a multiple sigma manner. Consumer discretionary up 2% today to a new all-time high. That is a strong candle. Sometimes it does this. Usually this is powered by Tesla or Amazon, typically Tesla. Again, this is crazy that the 52-week low happened, during the Nikkei crash on August 5th. Thing traded down to 166. If you didn't think the consumer was dead, typically when you have a 52-week low to high, it takes kind of the whole chart, bottom left to top right. This did it in 4 months. So absolutely, just an absolute monster. And of course, a lot of this buoyed by, the whole Trump-Musk connection, of course, as Tesla is a very heavy weighting in XLY. So without even looking at the chart, now I just got another chart up, another time frame. My full target for this on bullishness is right around 227. So this is about $5 a little bit too high, kind of like what I said for the S&P. I think this kind of wanted to puncture, like 230 to 235 level, maybe reach that, tap it, and then start to mean revert a little bit towards 220. So that's my call on XLY. Would not chase it here. That is a great looking bar. It is overbought. You actually have price confirmation there, meaning the price is actually the highest with the highest RSI. Tells me that's not over. Tesla probably is going to go to I think it closed at 395 or something like that. It's probably going to go to 420. Insert joke. Haha. Congrats, Elon. But yeah, he's got the golden touch right now, and absolutely fire chart XLY, which bodes well for the entire economy. You want the consumer, at least through this fund, which is comprised heavily of Home Depot, Amazon, Tesla, and Home Depot, which is, I think, it's like 45% of the fund. It looks like to be on fire and has not been this bullish. I mean, an overbought reading like that since a week after the election. So a lot of animal spirits here. I mean, I don't want to pat myself on the back, but in May, I was saying we're going to be trading 600 S&P, and the interviewer thought I was absolutely insane. And this is when the street had 520 year-end target. So just saying, the guy with the dog dressed up in the suit might know what he's talking about. I don't know. All right, next, ARK stocks absolutely crushing. This is going to be microcosm of sorts of the chart we just saw. Exactly. Look at that massive bar here. Same thing. The lows here were August 5th. Very similar, again, because of the weighting in Tesla. This chart, again, like I said, usually takes a year. You want to see bottom left to top right. But this did it in 4 months. This low 36 all the way to 62. My full target on ARK, even with the bullishness, is right around $61 or so. So this was a bit too much. Maybe this kind of tries to puncture to 63, maybe just because the strength of that candle. And then I do think you get a mean reversion to about $57. We'll see what that spells for Tesla. But ARK looking sharp, 52-week high today. Congrats to Kathy Wood. She's making it all back today. So I'm looking at multiple Sigma movers today. It was consumer discretionary, because of because of Tesla, and then Ark Innovation up 4.2%. Haha, joke again. And then the other thing there wasn't a ton of areas that had multiple Sigma movers today. The other one was Russell Midcap Growth. This hit a new all-time high today. It was up 1.1%. And just for my curiosity, I am going to pull up the major holders in this fund. I'm just curious because this is not a name that we typically look at. It's Palantir. Palantir has had a massive run continuing again. It's also heavy in funds, not heavy, but 3% weighting in AppLovin, 2% in Trade Desk. And it also has a 2% holding in Coinbase. So that's what you get for midcap growth in this fund, which hit a new all-time high today. For my full, valuation, I'm going to guess it's pretty much similar to what I said. This thing has been on fire. This has been overbought, names like this, since the 21st, since it ever even got to about 132, and now we're trading 139, essentially. So, again, maybe this gets about 140 with a little bit more of momentum, continued momentum. But after that, I do see even reversion to about 133 or a $5 consolidation. All right, so those were the gainers today. Consumer discretionary up 2% today. ARK Innovation up 4%, and then the midcap Russell growth shares up 1%. On the loser side, so the metals and mining had a bad move today, down 2.5%. I am long the GDX. Here it is, down 2.5%. So you see this group topped out 2 days after the election here on November 7th at about 70.5. And right here, just very quickly has broken the 21-day exponential moving average and is moving towards its lower Bollinger Band. So this is different from the other charts. I do see this not being in favor. I see this as a more clear chart reading of being in distribution mode down to about $64. I don't think it gets much worse than that. And to be frank with you, if you do get it around $64, I would rather wait for the duration for this to come out, meaning I'd rather let this sit on the sidelines for about 1 to 2 weeks, let it rest. And if you are able to get it around 64, I don't think you're going to, but if you do get it around 64, that I think is a great entry price. You want to get in under 67, I would say, is nice. So a good move today. We'll see. And then ultimately, I think, in about a month or so, I think this heads towards 71, or which would equate to new 52-week highs on the group, but not in favor right now, but still a nice rising 200-day moving average after having a tough end of summer episode right here. After, it was still rising 200-day moving average, but did not have a great time up until mid to late September. Now it's really got its legs underneath it. So metals and mining, ugly day today, down 2.5%. Another area that was hacked a little bit, it was XOP. I had a note in my sheet here. This energy area was going to weaken. I had written right here, I actually have in my notes, buy Halliburton puts on November 19th. I didn't, just based on the risk and reward. I'm glad I didn't, because the vol was more expensive. I looked at it today and it wasn't worth the trade. But what gave me that idea was I didn't think this was going to. So this is the XOP. which has really just been holding water, not been a great place to be in since that Japan Nikkei crash. A lot of things reset on that Japan Nikkei August 5th date. That's a reason why you hear me keep on talking about it for like the 8 months that we've been doing, or well, it can't be 8 months because I don't talk back in time. But for the 4 months that it's happened, we've been really referring to it because it's very evident in the charts. So here's XOP. I didn't think so. I made the call right here. I said this was going to weaken after a couple of more sessions. And then lo and behold, within a week, it topped out. And then here we are again under the 200-day moving average. So now what you say? Well, let me pull this up. So yeah, down 2.2% today. I think this is going to base. I had this a weakening, as I said, but right around 135. And ironically, the low today I'm rounding is 135. So I think next week it's going to try and test right around there, 135. I don't like it for a buy, but I think this is going to try and do that same movie where it is going to base around 135, and then it probably moves towards 142, just under that, maybe gets over the 200-day moving average of 143, and that'll be your trade, 8 points. Not bad, but there's other potentially in terms of rotation, if I didn't have any kind of position in energy, oil and gas, which I don't think I do, potentially you can get, a quick mover in here. But that's pretty much the scope I think it's going to live in for this chart. All right. And then another one, we were talking about this, Brazil got hammered today, down 2.33%. The fear is not, over here in South Korea. We'll look at another country ETF later. But so Brazil here, I thought this was going to hold around 25.5 or so. The 52-week low was 25.07. Today we closed 25.30. Again, not a super, with the SPY, which is the most important market in the world, at all-time highs. You want to go, you want to look at the biggest ripples in the water, the biggest waves in the water. I'm not trying to trade the little micro ripples to try to catch a little bit of a bounce. So when this group hit 52-week low this week, I'm not trying to chase it here. So I think next week this is going to try and find favor or a kind of a basing environment around 25.5, right around where my cursor is here. Try to strengthen there. And then I think it's going to try to move up towards the 26.75, right around here. And that doesn't look great. So I think that's probably as good as it gets. Potentially, my God, like 27. I don't think it's going to do it. And this 200-day moving average looks ultimately very heavy. This is going to be a long turnaround, I believe, in Brazil, where investor flows have not really wanted to be in there since April. And obviously they're having commodities and resources as well, and that's not really flushing well either. So they have a lot of headwinds. Don't really want to be a great investor in Brazil right now. Okay, let's keep going. Top three gainers of the past 5 days, no repeating in charts. Ark, baby. Ark up 8%. In the past 5 days, an absolute magnificent mover. Speaking of magnificent, the second biggest mover is MAGS. I like this ETF. I know some people think it's stupid and real simple. It's a big driver of the market. If you didn't want any, exposure, to me, it's a little bit too concentrated. I wouldn't put my, entire 401k and everything into it. But it's a great fund. It tracks the heaviness of the concentrated, AI CapEx very well, in my opinion. And I like this. My full valuation, even on the bullishness, is around 54.5. So this has gone up a little bit too much. I do see maybe again, this is kind of a theme I'm seeing. Maybe the market tries to stretch a little bit more. Maybe this tries to puncture to about 56, and then I think it pulls back to about 52, which would be a $4 move, which would be pretty heavy. So we'll see. But a great looking chart. Even on the Japan Nikkei crash, this has had no close calls, no RSI under 30 all year, never oversold. This is basically like the Taylor Swift of live performers. She announces a date, it's sold out, and it's $2,000 to get in. This is kind of what I read from the stochastic mix and the RSI never being oversold. It's an absolute superstar, and people do not want to give up this name, and I'm the same way. Okay, and then IBIT, the third biggest gainer. IBIT had a big explosion. I've been messaging with a friend months ago. I said, you're going to need Ethereum to get closer, I think, to new 52-week highs, or all-time highs, rather, of about 4K. And then I think Bitcoin will really have its legs underneath it. And that's exactly what happened. Ethereum finally got to its 52-week highs right around 4K. And then it was enough of that Bitcoin to Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio, and then started to propel again. There's also a lot of movement of when the altcoins start doing well, not the Haktua ones. You got to do more than spit on that thing. But when the altcoins are doing well, Bitcoin's not, and vice versa. Anyway, IBIT when we're looking at this chart, you're going to think I'm nuts here. When I'm looking at the chart right here, I think it's maybe has a little bit of a move down to about. It's so tough because the volatility here is crazy. I'm looking at it as a chartist, just cleanly as if I was looking at XOP or Intel or whatever. I see it to potentially pulling back to the 21-day exponential moving averages, which is 52. So that's a 10% reduction, or basically what we had with Bitcoin the other night. So go from 103 to 93. And then after that, I think it can propel obviously right back to new highs, which would be, I did have a chart where I had like 107 K target for Bitcoin within like 2 to 3 weeks. So I'm not going to pull it up here. Well, we'll see. We have a GBTC too for the year in review. But so yeah, potentially this comes down a little bit. I don't think we're totally, I don't want to say out of the skis, but think trees don't go to the sky. This may have a little bit up today, 2.5%. This may have tried to etch a little bit of a move towards 53. I know it seems insane because Bitcoin just goes one way vertical, but I wouldn't be shocked if it pulls back to about just, sounds crazy. Again, $52, which is 10% reduction, and then going towards 58 for this in the next 2 weeks. 2 weeks or so. So that is my call on IBIT, the third biggest mover this week. So you saw where the money was flowing this week. It was Ark, Tesla, Mags, Tesla, and Bitcoin. So that's where the killers were this week. I'm happy to say Ark, I'm not long Tesla, but I am long a lot of mega cap tech in the PA fund. Mags is reflecting that. And then IBIT, and I have it in several accounts. And I advise you to do the same thing. All right, top 3 losers of the past 5 days. Love to pull this up because it's net gas down 7.5% on the week, the biggest loser this entire week. And you wish someone had told you, and he did, and his name was John Salama, and he's with a dog that's wearing a suit. So what happened here was with nat gas, it was just a clear signal to me, and I did it right on the 25th, 26th. So I got it here. Not this one I did not do. You got to be a pretty amazing astute. I don't even think I was around the 21st. So the 25th, 26th, I got it here on the second day tap. So I got very close to it. And then it just got to Kembe, rest in peace. And it went straight down. I said, be on the lookout for new 52-week lows. Today was up about 40 bips. I'm going to keep a close eye on this one. I'm in January puts, so I'm not going to exit my position just yet. Yeah, I'm still calling for new 52-week lows. I'm curious if it holds. The 52-week low is 1235. Today we closed at 1341. It's potentially possible that this starts to weaken, and it was just around here, and the 52-week low does hold. I still think I'm possibly going to be right on this, and new lows. Just cut myself. And new lows are coming for nat gas, but we'll see. It's very close regardless. So I mean, it's obviously weak. And if you get this chance, again, I said you got to sell it. All right. The next biggest loser, we already looked at the chart though, was XOP. So nat gas down 7.5%. The next loser was XOP down 7%. So the energy complex not having a lot of great moods this week when the markets are all-time highs. Be cognizant of this. It's not always going to be like that, and you're going to rotate in when people are like, I'm pretty light on my energy position. It's a pretty important sector for the next 10 years in the United States, which is the largest cap and most important market in the world. Get that. But no, understand that right now, a lot of these complexes, these asset security classes are not in favor. The next one, so nat gas down 7.5% this week, then XOP down 7%. Then the next one we haven't talked about in a few days. It was the martial law news. South Korea down 4.5%. Okay, this week. So that's the third biggest loser. So it's nat gas, oil and gas, and then EWY. I do not like this area, but with kind of with a floor on it, being that I do see it still being in distribution mode. I don't like that this was the tall wick. It had one good day, and there was stuff going on after hours about Parliament. He's trying to reject their declaration and vice versa, and that's the best it could muster. And now it's been down 2 days in a row, so I don't like that. Up in terms of like a FXI bet like 3 months ago, and see this lifting. I don't see it as a great place to be right now. So I see the floor on this probably selling down to about, I think 54.5 makes sense. So I think that panic low will hold, but I do see us selling off just a little bit lower, probably like another % or so. I think it's going to take time over the next 2 weeks. We'll see, but not a place I want to be in. Okay, so top 3 absolute trades of the past 5 days. If you were long ARK, 8% in your pocket. If you were short nat gas, 7.5% in your pocket. I told you about that. Watch the video. I also, I'm hopefully doing the show for a while longer. Watch the videos and go back 3 weeks. Sometimes I'm going to be right, sometimes I'm going to be wrong, but at least it sometimes forms. It can even help you do your own work, framing your trading thesis. I know it seems not helpful to Monday morning quarterback. I do it from time to time. I know you could do the same thing on the calls. I'm not selling you anything. It's no narrative. It's just how I read the charts here. Okay, so long ARK up 8%, short nat gas up 7.5%, and then short XOP down 7%. Those were the best winning trades of the week. So if you went long Kathy, short energy stuff, you crushed it this week. And now the ever important drum roll, top 3 absolute trades of the past 52 weeks, and we have a new entry. I'm just going to say them. We'll go in the order first. The best trade of the past 52 weeks, that is still the GOAT. The absolute killer of the past year, it's GBTC up 132% year over year, meaning from December 6th, 2023 through this day, it is the absolute top ETF dog in all the land, up 132%. As I told you, I potentially see a little bit of a sell-off here to about maybe 75, and then I do see it zooming back up towards new highs of about 83. So congrats if you were able to get in this thing at $33 last year and you held the entire time, including some really difficult times from the Japan Nikkei crash through October 14th. I remember being on the show saying the chart does not look good. It has to correct and resolve higher sooner, and it did exactly doing that. And I do want to also state that I did say you have to give it the benefit of the fact because it's still number one and never short of superstar. Even great artists put out one crap album, and that was that quarter essentially for Bitcoin. And now it's just right back, top leader of the year, top leader of the decade. You can't screw with it. You have to own it. So that's Bitcoin. Number one, leading the market in the past ETF market in the past 52 weeks. And obviously you see it represented through flows, and you see that reported by Bloomberg and the other news source. Of course, it's because people want alpha like this. The next biggest return, people thought it was dead. People said the death was greatly exaggerated, right? SMH, okay? So while the highs are still back here on 7-Eleven, XLK is doing it, right? New all-time highs. The Qs have done new all-time highs. Why isn't this specific group not doing that? So if you draw right here a triangle right here going from July 22nd, we are consolidating right here, this whole triangle. That's a pattern where we're consolidating. We're basically saving energy. And it looks like it is going to, you would hope to break out. Here's where I'm looking at the chart technically. I think I'm the same thing I've been saying for weeks. I don't know what the push, the catalyst is going to be. I didn't think it was going to be NVIDIA earnings, and it wasn't. I think this is in vogue. I've been liking the semis. I told you this was a once a quarter type buying opportunity on November 27th. If you had that and you quick to the trigger, congratulations. I was already long NVIDIA, so I didn't have to buy any more, although I did think I'd buy more XLG mega cap tech around that date. That being said, this rally, it's in vogue right now. I think this will stay like that for the next week or so to about 263, and then I do sniff out still a mean reversion towards 247, 248. So with these highs to be taken out, this 283 of all-time high, I'm starting to be more, I am expecting a fierce everything rally to overtake us, in the coming weeks. But that's a heck of a move. I don't know if semis do it this year. I'm starting to, it's surprising for me to say because I'm hella long and I love the group. But it potentially needs a little bit more time. It will happen, just like you saw with Qs and Apple's new all-time highs. It would be hubris to think that, this was it. The new railroads of the 21st century. That was it. That was the top in July 2024. What a stupid thing to say. What a dumb thing to say. Even a dog wearing a suit wouldn't utter such a thing. So, and not only because he could speak, because he couldn't speak it, just because it's so dumb. So that's SMH, up 58%. You have to own it. New highs coming. I think it might take you, another month to maybe 2 months even. Probably not that long, but it's possible. Again, Bitcoin, I want to remind you, did nothing for 8 months, and now it's, a chart topper. So never short superstar. The 200-day moving average is still rising. So, so just be good for goodness sakes. We listen to a lot of Christmas music. The kid is all about it. Not me, my actual kid. All right, and then third, this is a new entry. This is huge. I don't want to go too long over the show. XLC has replaced, it used to be the KBE, which is banks. used to be the third runner-up, and then if you remember, used to be the real estate ETFs. That has fallen apart. What is leading this market right now for the past year look back is Bitcoin, semis, and XLC. And look at this. XLC did it today. New 52-week high, new all-time high today. So this is one of not only the third best gainer, up 47% in the past year, very heavy Meta and Google. And everyone says Google's dead. They're not. This is absolutely fire area of the market. Mega cap tech, obviously. So my valuation on this, it was right around 100. I think it's fully target right here. I do think you get a little bit of a mean reversion to about 98. And you know what they're going to do with that. They're going to gobble that up. I advise you to do the same thing. Okay, this was a loaded show. 100th episode. Happy to do it. Hope you watch it. And yeah, we'll hopefully be back on Monday. Y'all have a great weekend. And just because he's really not happy over the clothing, here he is one more time. Rocco, say goodbye. He's not happy. I am. Bye.